Well, hey, Becoming Me, I'm so excited to introduce you to my warrior friend, Christina, today. Christina, how's it going?
Amazing. Thank you. How are you?
Good. It is so good to see you. And I cannot
Aw.
wait for you to unpack your journey for Becoming Me today. You're so inspiring and full of joy, which is, I think, my favorite thing that I've just experienced with you so far. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's kick off today's
Yeah.
conversation with you just sharing a little bit about Christina. Like, who is Christina?
Oh gosh, if you could unwrap that, right? So it's so funny because it's a simple question, like, who am I? Like, who are you? Da, 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 da. But then we're all so complex and we have so many different variables to our personality. And so it's a really complicated question, especially for someone like me, because I go in so many different directions. And so who am I? I think first I'm a mama, so I have a 6-year-old son. And then I am a warrior, I am a woman who is bound and determined to live the life that I dream for myself, and bound and determined to pave the way and light the path for every other person to live their dreams and to really become their best self, right? I mean, I think so often we spend our lives trying to understand who we are and what is that best version of us. And we get beat down along the way. We get taken off of our path. We see something bright and shiny in the corner and we go in that direction. So who am I? Like, I'm a woman who's been on a 39-year journey of trying to find myself right here, right now, at the spot where I'm at in my life, and taking detour after detour, whether it was into one relationship and back out, or one job or one career and back out. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, but yeah,
I love it.
I think a warrior, which is crazy because I have never used that term to describe me ever.
No way.
Like, I've been, a teacher and a healer and a this and a that, but I've never called myself a warrior. And just literally in the last week, I found that I'm so ready, finally, so ready to live this life that I have always dreamed for myself, but just kept chasing. Like, one lesson after another that God put in my path to help me get stronger and stronger, that literally it's like today, right here, right now, I can stand and I feel like a warrior, like a woman who's been to battle and is ready to own it.
I love it.
To stand in the power of whatever comes next. Like, prepared, Emily,
Absolutely.
Prepared.
I love it. I'm like ready to go into battle right now. Oh my goodness. You are like, I love how you just described yourself and unpacked what it means for you, Christina, to be a warrior. That was beautiful. And you mentioned that you've been on this 39-year journey to get to where you are right now. Unpack your story for us. What's made you who you are today?
Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps with that one. So I always say that our lives prepare us for our purpose, right? But so often we forsake those lessons that happen along the way, or we get stuck in a place where we're, poor me or woe is me or what have you, right? Instead of realizing that each struggle is God putting an opportunity before us to get stronger, to flex those muscles, to build up our strength, to prepare us for whatever it is that we're put on this earth to accomplish. And so when I look back, like, over the course of my life, I've had a life that would have broke most people. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was in a Bible study recently, and one of the women said, my life has been nothing in comparison to yours. I'm always waiting for something tragic to happen because I've had a relatively easy life, only struggling with anxiety.
Wow.
Right? And I stopped her and I said, look, like, God builds us to be able to handle whatever he brings. Like, I was built like a tank to handle everything that has happened in my life. And there are people that kill themselves over anxiety. So don't think that you weren't built like a tank. Just because your degree is different than what my degree was, I handled it with ease. Even though it was hard, and it was hard to be in it, like, I sailed through it because I was built to overcome it. And so when I think about, like, what is that? Like, when I was, my earliest memory of addiction was around 5 years old.
Wow.
So I've had a life of addiction. My earliest memory was around 5 years old, and it started with chasing after love. Like, love was never something that was just given to me because of who I was. Like, I had to chase it, and I lost it pretty easy. If I said something wrong or did something wrong, like, I lost it. And I was so sensitive as a baby as a child, like we all are, and we get desensitized, our spirits get broken. I was so sensitive that I started chasing after love at a really young age. And then at around 11, that turned into chasing after things like cigarettes, like smoking cigarettes, and because I couldn't ever keep the love. So then how do I numb out from the pain of not being able to ever be good enough to just be loved, right? And so that started cigarettes. And then at 12, it was pot. And at 13 and 14, it was crystal meth. And so I was a crystal meth addict from 14 to 17, like hardcore crystal meth addict. Got kicked out of high school, graduated high school from a continuation school.
Wow.
I got clean when I was 17, all by myself. Like I have this amazing story. And again, this is like, you know, God laying the path for our testimony in our life, right? And it could be the universe, whatever somebody, you know, aspires to throw in there as that higher calling that guides us along a path. And I'll never forget the story. Like I was probably 15 and a half, and the school, my parents were divorced. And so they both had joint legal custody, which means they both had to sign off on what happened in my life. The school had kicked me out, and they had told my mom that she should send me to like Phoenix House, which was a drug rehab center that was far away, and it was locked down. And my dad refused to sign. My mom was furious, like, she's going to die if you don't. I was like 72 pounds. I was about a month from death. And my dad said, I know, Christina, she wasn't built to be a drug addict forever. And if we send her away, we will never see her again. Wow. We have to have faith that she's going to find the strength to find her way out. And when she does, she will be done. And I think back now as a mother about the amount of strength. And I'm sure you've heard the term about holding space for somebody, right? A little like, you know, really in term right now, right? But we don't really know what it means to hold space for somebody. But I think about it now as a mother. My dad in that moment held space for me to be where I was, be who I was. And he said to me, I will not take you off this path, but I want you to know I will always be there when you need help, right? So if you need a place to crash, I was crashing on couches. My mom had taken my key away. I was not a nice person. I was well liked still because I've always been kind and conscientious, but I was stealing and stuff like that, right? And, you know, he's like, I will pick you up from wherever. I will never judge you, ever. But I will not take you off of this path. You must choose it. And so he was moving up to Northern California, and he said, hey, I'm heading out. Do you want to come with me? Is it time? And I just knew it. I'm like, it's time.
Wow.
And so I went and moved up there with him. I used for another 2 or 3 months as like my bag got lower and lower. And little did I know that I was being weaned off of it naturally. I did less and less because I wanted it to last longer and longer.
Wow.
And then by the time my continuation high school started, I was clean. 2 weeks before, I was clean. And they put me, as soon as I started, into a counseling role where I was mentoring other students. So I built my confidence. And then I started community college before I even finished high school. But here's the powerful thing, like what my dad didn't know then, and he has since passed, but what I realized literally like 3 or 4 months ago, and I dropped to the floor and just cried my eyes out, was what he did for me. Had he not held that space for me, I never would have realized the power that I had, because the power that I learned in knowing that I could kick an addiction that almost killed me transferred for the next 20 years of my life, because that was nothing. Wow. That was no challenge compared to what the next 20 years held. So he held that space for me to find my own strength so that I could know that I could accomplish anything after that.
Wow.
Anything, right? And so you think about that as we think about the people in our lives and those that we try and rescue, or we think we know what's best for them. And the only reason why we do that is because it's too uncomfortable for us to feel what we feel about what they're going through.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we got to get them out of it because we know what's best and because it's too hard to watch. Had my dad taken me out of that, I don't know where my life would, I don't know if I would have found the succinct knowledge of my purpose and to be able to stand here today and say, I found my warrior self.
Oh, wow.
Right? I mean, that's powerful, right?
Absolutely.
And how hard in those moments, like I was dying. Yeah. And he said, I will let you. I love you that much.
Wow.
But I will be here when you need me.
Oh my goodness.
You know? And so, I mean, that's just, it's so my story is one like a lot of us. right? We all have varying degrees of addiction in our lives, whether it's food and then it was alcohol after I finished drugs. Don't get me wrong, I didn't get it right then either, right? Alcohol came into the picture, and like bad relationships, dysfunction, all of that was still part of it because I didn't really heal what I needed to. It's funny, like I tell this story that says that like I quit, right? And I thought the power was in getting clean, but I didn't realize that the real lesson was in why I started using drugs to begin with.
Yep.
Like for all of us, right? The lesson isn't necessarily in the quitting.
Right.
But that's where we take our atta girls from, right? Like, yay, that's where we feel the power. And it's powerful, no doubt. But until we unwrap, like why we were in that place, why we stayed in that relationship, why we used to begin with, why we turned to food as a place of comfort, then we find something else to put it into.
So true. So true. It's the symptom of the root cause.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And what a gift that your dad gave you. It didn't feel like a gift at the time, I'm sure.
It did. No, it did. He was the only person in the world that understood me. I was that child where I just needed to be like, he would always tell a story of like my sister and my sister was the kid that you could go to the stove and say, the stove is hot, and put her hand over the top and she'd feel the heat. And like, okay, it's hot, I'll never touch it. And I was the kid that he would say, the stove is hot, give me your finger.
Oh, wow.
Because I needed to get a little burn to recognize that meant I didn't want to touch it. Or if I did, there were going to be consequences for it. So, one of the beauties, he and I, our relationship had all kinds of problems and all kinds of elements of dysfunction and dependency, right? But he understood that me as an independent, I was a warrior all my life and I just didn't know it because people tried to suppress that part of me. Because it was uncomfortable for them. Right. It was uncomfortable for my mom to think about all the things that could happen if she let me fly.
Yeah.
Right? If she really let my light shine as bright as it, because I was a bright, big old star, if she really let me shine, all the things that could potentially happen, all the pain that I could feel if I never accomplished. And so she tried to stop me from ever trying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't out of malice. It was a misguided sense of love.
Right.
But we do that to all, like we think about each of us, right? Like, as parents, as friends, as whatever, right? It's such a symptom of where we've arrived at as a society because it's so deeply ingrained in historical culture that it's just, we raise our babies with the same, junk that we were raised with because we don't know any better.
You're 100% right. And then we just repeat the cycle.
We sure do.
Break out of it.
And I broke it. Yeah. I broke the mold of my family. Like you think about that and the work that I do in teaching others, it's not lost on me that every one person I teach, that is 6 generations of their lineage that will not have the same dysfunction that they had when they came to me.
That's incredible.
6 generations.
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes a lot of work.
So you think about each of us as individuals as we walk through the world. Every engagement that we have has the opportunity to change someone else's life, and not just their life, but 6 generations of their lives. We get to change as we endeavor to step into the courageous spot of finding our true authentic self and doing the hard work to get there. We get to change 6 generations of our family's history.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps. That's so good. I love it. If you were having a cup of coffee with another warrior on her own becoming journey, what would you say to encourage her?
Oh my gosh. Someone asked me this recently and it came out of my mouth and I thought, damn, that was good. It was because it's so simple. It is like, if I could tell my younger self, right? Or if I could tell a woman who's lost or trying to find her way out of being unstuck, like, what do? It would just simply be to recognize that it will all make sense someday.
Oh, that's good.
Like to have the faith that you are where you are supposed to be, that everything is working for you, nothing is working against you. Even the people who do things that make you feel bad or that break you or whatever, like they are not here to break you. They are here to help heal you. But we just don't recognize the gifts. We don't recognize the packaging that God and the universe is bringing forth, these gifts to help us break through whatever this conditional stuff is that we're still holding on to, that's keeping us from really being able to shine and soar. And so to say, like, it all makes sense someday, whether it's your addictions, when you look back at your life, if you're still connected to your story, of your
absolutely.
childhood or your pain, right? To turn that into a different energy, to say like, I may not understand why I had the life I had, or the childhood, or the parents, or the whatever.
Right.
But it'll all make sense someday. It is all placed here so that I find that gift of purpose. Like the woman in my Bible study, to be able to say to her, look, like there are people that kill themselves over anxiety. You have gotten past it. Perhaps your purpose is to mentor those who have not been built to handle it yet, or have been built and don't know how to find and access the strength to move through it.
Oh, that's good.
Right? I mean, we don't know what our purpose is, but if you examine your life and the life you've had, you can find where your true strength lies when you look at your true hardships.
Absolutely.
When you connect with that, boom, it's gratitude. Like the world changes on a dime. Everything. Now it's like, okay, give me some more. All right, God, I'm ready. That's me. Like every night when I do my prayers and my meditation, I'm like, all right, Jesus, what's next? Show me my next lesson, because I want to open up to it all. I want to move past it all and make it easy, please.
I love it. I love it. I love your perspective on it too, that it's not something that we have to walk through, but it's almost this, we get to walk through this.
We get to walk through it. Yeah. You know, like I was literally before this with one of my spiritual advisors, and I said, look, you know, I tell Jesus, Mother Mary, everybody every night, like, okay, guys, I'm ready for some more. And she's like, you're a glutton for punishment. I'm like, no, I'm a warrior who's on a mission.
I love it.
I know I'm going to learn these lessons in this life because I need to, I have to. So I'd rather step into the power of knowing it now. Show them, show me where I am still broken. Show me where there is not light that can break through, because I want to shine from every cell in my being.
You do shine so brightly. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
A woman watching this story right now, and she's hearing and wanting to connect with you, or even be a part of some projects that you're doing and follow along, where can she go to connect with you online?
So a couple different places. So the first place she can go is to ChristinaReneeJ.com, which is my website where I talk about a lot of this stuff and do a lot of this work. I have classes. All my classes are $22, and I'm moving toward a donation-based platform, because I really believe that our spiritual transformation should not be limited based on our bank accounts. Like, it is a huge passion of mine. To think that somebody has to make a choice between bread and their spiritual awakening, their spiritual connection to themselves, is devastating to me. And so I have it financially accessible to all, and I will transfer to that donation-based platform soon. And then I also have a film that I'm putting together and doing some crowdfunding on, that's called the I Choose Love Project. And it is about helping all of us who choose to live in a tolerant, loving, compassionate world to find the places within us where we might still lack the ability to truly align with that in our everyday lives. And so that one is, that website is ichooseloveproject.org.
Love it.
Go there for more info.
And for all of you watching, we will have each of these links in the post so you can easily connect with Christina and her projects. But seriously, you are a warrior. Thank you so much for sharing your story, who you are, who you're becoming, and then just challenging us to walk headfirst into the challenges that come our way, because they help us become who we were made to be. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. They're the tailwind, not the headwind.
I love
like
that.
They're the wind that pushes you and is behind you and underneath you, carrying you.
So good. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you so much.